Hey everybody, this is Jeffrey, your shear and clipper sharpening guy with ICanSharpenThat.com. I'm going to show you a really cool trick on how to put these BaByliss trimmers back together. This works for just about every BaByliss trimmer that has this type of setup and spring. There's a lot of different types of BaByliss trimmers out there, but they all use these same interchangeable heads, whether they're gold, black. If they have this bracket on there and that spring, it's technically going to be the same way to put this back together. The three tools I'm using is a metric Allen wrench, which comes with the BaByliss trimmers. If you don't have one of these, I would ask your barber if he's got a spare one, or just check the box your clippers came with, and it's likely hidden in there. You just haven't used it. This is a zero gapper, and I don't use this to gap, but I'll show you my trick on how to gap later. I'm also using a channel lock, this is the Irwin brand. I get this at Home Depot or Lowe's, and this is more affordable than the channel lock brand. And then I use a Milwaukee 11-in-1 screwdriver. I'm just going to be using the #1 Phillips on here today. So you could just use a regular #1 Phillips, but this is my handy go-to. I like the grip on the 11-1. It's my favorite screwdriver of all time. Anyhow, to get this started, you're going to take this bracket right here first, and we're going to put in the square nuts. These seat into the little tray here, not up and down like this, but you want to put them sideways so it fills up that whole gap there. So that kind of looks more like that. That's what you want. So I'm going to put both of these in here first, right? Make sure that they're both facing the right direction. And then I'm going to place them against the cutter blade. If you look at it, it's got these two little rectangles that push up, and those are going to go inside the two longer rectangles right here. There's enough room for you to slide them back and forth too, as you can see. Then I'm going to place the this rectangle where the nuts are sitting inside this rail. So I'm going to put that right in there. And as I flip the whole thing over, you'll see it goes up and down just like that. So that should be able to do it. Then we have the top yoke. This is what goes into the inside of the clipper, which the rotary motor then attaches inside to. That should snap right into place there. And as you can see, I can this is a nice way to demonstrate. You have the cutter on top and the comb on the bottom. You never want the cutter above the comb. You will cut the client. So I'm just going to place this down here for a second. And the next two pieces I'm going to pick up, I'm just going to place to the side, get those ready. And then I'm going to use the tiny metric Allen wrenches. And I'm just going to lightly screw these in here. I'm not going to screw them in all the way. So that one goes in there like that. Just make sure it locks in. I'm just going to go right down until it starts giving me a little resistance. I'm going to go on this side. I'm going to go right over here. That side in. Like so. So that pretty much puts your cutter assembly together so you can lift it and close it. Look underneath that. See that twisted there here for me? So I'm basically going to loosen this and straighten that back out. As you can see. And make sure it's facing that right way. I put my finger underneath there, and I can tighten it as well. Okay, so we don't want it too tight. We're going to be adjusting it later. It doesn't necessarily matter what this part is right now. We're going to get into the next part. So the hardest part about this process is pushing this down to get these little circles inside the screw holes here. And there's a center screw hole which mounts it all together. In the process, you have to be pushing this spring down and make sure these springs are inside these two little spots right here. So what I like to do is I like to push that down there. I'll place this on top here, right? And I can slide it back a little bit to get it inside the springs inside those two little squares here. You see that? Let me get those inside here. And then the hardest part is pushing this down at the same time, screwing this down. And it's a pain in the butt. So I figured this trick out by taking the channel locks, opening them up a portion of the way, and then crimping down just the side there. Then I can adjust the sides so those circles go inside there, and it leaves my other hand free. So I'm holding on to the whole assembly without having to worry about pushing this down and getting this in here. So I take the screw with the lock washer in there, I pop that right into here, and then with my other free hand, I'll just start screwing it down. And this makes the job so much easier. So I just get a good grip on there. Once it starts some grab on there, you can actually take it apart, lay it flat, and then screw it the rest of the way. Now that part is set. Easy peasy. When I first started doing this, I would have the barber hold it for me while I try to tighten it down. You want to make sure the back here is nice and flush, that those 2 circles are inside the screw holes there. So right now I'm going to show you my trick for zero gapping. What I'll do is I'll get like a straight edge, a flat edge. You can find like the side of your barber table, or you want to use like the side of your toolbox. It's just got to be a straight, flat edge. I don't know how well this is going to work inside without, I usually put it in like a little nook where I can kind of push against it. But what I'll do is I'll loosen this up right here. I'll go straight to the straight edge and I'll put it against the surface here, right? This really isn't the best best way to do this, but I'm just trying to show. And then I'll tilt it up like that. By tilting it up, that gives me just the right gap to what they call zero gap. It's not really a zero. If you get it right to the edge, you're going to cut the client. But if you look at it, you'll see tiny little lines as close as it can get all the way to the edge. I'm looking at it, and this edge is a little far forward. This edge is a little far back. I don't know if you could see that, but you want to see, you want to line up the black with the of the cutter with the comb, and you want to see little tiny dots. So I can kind of push this back a little bit until I see it's a straight line, and I just have a little tiny dots of the comb coming through, and I'm going to tighten that down. And then here we go, and I'll go back and forth with it. And then you'll see right at the furthest tooth on the furthest right, it's a little too far forward still. So I'm going to go back and try it again. I'm going to go loosen this again. I'm going to try it at a different angle. But what you want to do initially, if you're like against something that's nice and strong, or like a table or the corner of a barber chair where it's actually flat, you want to push it against it, push everything forward, and then tilt it forward. And while tilting it forward, tighten it down. I'm going to see if I can try to do it. I got a little spot right here. Maybe I can kind of show you where I go and do it. I don't know if you can see this, but I have like a little nook this fits against right here. And I can push against this, right? Tilt it up, and then tighten it. And I'm tilting that like a... All right. And so now you can take a look at it. And as you can see, if I move it left and right, you see tiny little silver dots in front of the black cutter there. See that? So what you want is you want to make sure that that's as close as you can get it. And that's going to help you with your line work. It's going to help barber get a nice, very, very, very close cut right there. It's possible that you can get it too far forward and you're going to be cutting the client. You don't want that. Next one I'm going to do is I'm going to place it back together. So once I have this nice and tightened down, I'm going to double check and make sure that these are as tight as they can be. If there is any play still going back and forth, it means that long rectangle that held the nuts is worn out. Unfortunately, they do not sell parts for these. They make you buy a brand new one. I like to collect clippers that have been dropped and they have broken teeth, and then I'll have these extra parts just on hand. So if someone does have something like that, I can always help them out on the spot. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to place it back together. As you see, it just pops right into here. And screw goes in here using the number 1 Phillips head. And here, screw it down. And then when you sharpen these, it's gonna still have some grit in there unless you wash these out. So what I like to use is H42. It is a clipper trimmer cleaner, and it's made of oil as well too. So I'll turn it on. I'll take a little bit of H42. I'll spray it on there, and then I'll get a paper towel like so, and then I'll catch anything that it sops up. So as you see, it's kind of like it's a gray kind of color. You know, you want to do is seep it out of both sides and turn it off. Clean off the clipper as best as you can, and then you're set to go. I like H42. It's a great product. It's antiviral, antibacterial, kills the AIDS virus, and it also is made of oil. So it cleans your clippers and it oils them at the same time. I use this every single day. I'm a great proponent of it. It's a black-owned business based out of Southwest Atlanta, and Hampton Manufacturing. It's now a third generation family is working in the factory making this. It is American made, and it's great for your clippers and trimmers. If your clippers and trimmers are loud too, it'll quieten them up. So yeah, there we go. That's how we do it. I like to place my finger at the edge one last time to check and see if I feel it rubbing, or I'll do it right on like the inside of my arm here, and I'll look for any like red lines that may come up. And as you can see, after I sharpened it, nice and tight, just like that. Anyhow, this is Jeffrey, your shear and clipper sharpening guy. So if you need any mail order clipper or sharpening service on your shears, go to my website at icansharpenthat.com. This is the BaByliss Pro, how to put back together your trimmer blade. Have a wonderful day. Bye.